Hello and welcome to week 2 of Art 3550 Animation. I'm your host, Jeremy Bessoff, and let's get started. Today we're going to take a tour of Adobe After Effects. But first, if you have not done so, please download and install Adobe After Effects on your computer. If you're using a terminal at campus, it should already be installed for you. We've waived the lab fee for the class, so you can pay for your own personal copy of the Adobe Creative Suite. I recommend going to adobe.com and looking at the educational pricing, and in there you'll be able to find you can purchase a copy of all of the Creative Cloud Suite tools, including After Effects, for $20 a month. It's a really good deal. I'd also like to just give you a little tip before we begin. I highly recommend that if you're working on a laptop machine, you do not use the touchpad as your main interface. I say this because it contorts your hand into almost a knot, and it doesn't give you the freedom of expression a mouse will. I highly recommend using a corded mouse. I'm using the Death Adder Razer mouse. It's a gaming mouse with high resolution. It's a little bit of an investment, but it will last a long time and save you a lot of problems in the long run. It'll also help stave off carpal tunnel syndrome. The last thing you want is to wake up in the morning feeling your wrists and finger joints burning and aching. It's no fun for anyone, so get a mouse. I recommend the Razer mice. I also recommend, I like the Logitech corded M500. It's reasonably priced. But if that's not your bag, I recommend you find whatever mouse you can use, even if it's not corded, because it's going to make your life a heck of a lot easier. After Effects buttons can start to get really small and intricate, so you're going to want the flexibility of having a mouse. With that said, let's get started. Now let's look at After Effects. I'm going to give you a tour of After Effects and its interface. We're going to find out how some of the tools work. We're going to create a new project, import some assets, learn about layers and keyframes, and then in another video I will give you an assignment to work on. Let's start off by opening After Effects. If you haven't opened it yet after installation, you may not be able to find it in your menu bar. If that's the case, just go to Finder, File, New Finder window, and look in your Applications folder. Within the Applications folder are all your apps. Find the After Effects folder, After Effects CC 2018, double click, and then take a look at what's in there. You're going to want to double click on this larger file here, Adobe After Effects CC 2018, and give it a double click. And that will open After Effects. Once you have After Effects open, you can mouse down to your toolbar and find its icon. Where'd it go? There it is. You can right click on it, go to Options, and say Keep in Dock. And then it will be there in your dock the next time you want to use it, and you won't have to go through the Finder. You can also move it around in the dock. I like to color code my apps for some reason. I have no idea why. It's just fun. As you can see, my After Effects may look a little bit different than yours because I've been working with it for some time and have a list of projects that are in there. When yours comes up, this should be blank. So what you'll do is select New Project. I'd also recommend, if you'd like to follow along with me, that make sure your window and workspace is set to standard. So I am going to break this tutorial down into the simplest parts possible. After Effects can seem overwhelming, but if you take it in little pieces, it'll be really easy. That reminds me of a joke. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Let's talk about these windows. The first window here is your project window. This is where all your timelines, files, assets, sounds, sound effects, etc. will be stored. And you'll see a list of them when you add things to the project. The next window is your composition window. This is the window where you'll be actively working on your project. This is where you see a real-time display of what's happening in After Effects. As we go down a window, this is our timeline. This is where we will control our place in time through After Effects. If you look up and to the right, you'll see an info box and an audio box. The info will give you information like your XY position on the screen. It'll also tell you what color you're currently mousing over. This is the fun window, the preview. When you have something to preview, this will play back previews of your composition. And under that, we've got effects and presets. This is where we'll be adding effects to assets in the timeline. If we go up and to the left, we'll see a host of tools. The selection key is probably the tool you'll be using the most, so it's good to learn its hotkey. To quickly access this tool, all you have to do is press V. Another helpful option up in the toolbar is the snapping button. You can snap to objects or grids or guidelines, which helps you line things up. Pay no attention to the little green AE that just popped up. If you're using a Razer mouse, that's some of Razer's software, and you can program it to change the assigned buttons on the mouse based on what program you're using. It's really cool. Won't go into that now. All right, let's go to the top and do a very important thing first. As we look at the top menu, we're going to see we have After Effects, File, Edit, Composition, Layer Effect, Animation, View, Window, and Help. Let's check the After Effects drop down. Go to Preferences and General. This is where After Effects handles a lot of basic controls for the program. At this point, I don't think you should be messing with it. There is one part of this menu that I would like to focus on here, is the autosave. Very important. Let's click on autosave. Now, this is going to save your After Effects file at certain time intervals. So, say you're working and you get up to get a cup of coffee and the cat unplugs your computer, your work is gone. Not so if you've got autosave selected. The default is 30 minutes. I set it to 15 personally, just because I'm really good at making mistakes. Autosave will save up to 5 versions of your file. Let's go to custom location, choose folder, we'll go to the desktop, we'll go to our Art3550 folder, and then I'd like you to make a new folder in here, and we'll call this Practicing. Hit create, boom, you're in your new folder. You're in the practicing folder. Make one more new folder and call it autosaves. So now we have a handy autosave tree and hit choose. So now, as you can see, the path is desktop Art3550 practicing autosaves. Hit OK. Now let's take a look at the file menu, see what's under there. This is the menu where you'll be opening projects you've worked on or creating new projects. You can close your projects, save your projects, import footage, and work on your project settings. The edit menu, you'll find a very handy undo, and you'll find the cut and copy controls, which are exactly like any other program you've used. Command X for cut, Command C for copy. Under the composition window, this is where you set your composition settings. Now, a composition is essentially the canvas on which you'll be painting your animation. So let's try and make a new composition. Click on New Composition. And we see some strange numbers here. First and foremost, what we're going to do is label our composition, because you don't want a whole folder full of compositions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to get lost and spend a lot of needless time opening them. So we're going to call this Playing Around 1. Now, under the preset here, oh boy, you've got tons and tons and tons of things. What are we to choose?